In a world of constant change and uncertainty, we often find ourselves tossed about by the waves of circumstance. We worry about the future, regret the past, and feel overwhelmed by events that seem far beyond our reach. But what if there was a way to find a calm center in this storm? An ancient philosophy that offers a blueprint for building an unshakable inner fortress. A mindset so resilient it can withstand any external chaos. This is the promise of Stoicism, a school of thought championed by thinkers like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius and the statesman Seneca. Their wisdom, though thousands of years old, provides a powerful and practical guide for navigating the challenges of our modern lives. The core principle of Stoicism is deceptively simple, yet profoundly transformative. It's the idea of separating what is within our control from what is not. Think about your day. You might get stuck in traffic, a meeting might be canceled, or someone might be unkind to you. These are external events, things that happen to you. You cannot control the traffic, the decisions of others, or the weather. Wasting your energy, your peace, and your time being angry or frustrated about these things is like shouting at the rain to stop. It's an exhausting and ultimately futile exercise. The Stoics urge us to recognize these externals for what they are: indifferent. They are neither good nor bad in themselves. They simply are. What you can control, however, is your response to these events. You can control your thoughts, your judgments, and your actions. This is your inner world, your true domain of power. Imagine you are an archer. You can control your training, the quality of your bow and arrow, your stance, your aim, and the moment you release the string. This is all within your power. But once the arrow leaves the bow, you cannot control the sudden gust of wind that might divert its path. The Stoic archer does not lament the wind. They focus on the perfection of their own actions, the things they could control up to the point of release. This is the essence of the Stoic mindset. It's not about suppressing emotion or becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It's about directing your energy wisely. It's about understanding that your peace of mind doesn't have to be a casualty of external events. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled a vast empire and faced constant war, plague, and betrayal, wrote to himself in his private journals, which we now know as meditations. He reminded himself constantly, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This wasn't just a philosophical platitude. It was his lifeline. It was his tool for maintaining composure and making sound decisions while the world around him was in turmoil. He knew that the true battle was not on the fields of Germania, but within his own mind. When you start to apply this distinction in your daily life, something remarkable happens. The small annoyances begin to lose their power over you. The driver who cuts you off is no longer a source of rage, but simply an external event. You can choose to respond with a calm breath instead of an angry gesture. Your peace remains intact. A critical comment from a coworker is just information, an external opinion. You have the power to choose whether to internalize it as a personal attack or to evaluate it objectively, taking what might be useful and discarding the rest. Seneca, another giant of Stoicism, faced his own share of turmoil, including exile and a death sentence from a tyrannical emperor. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. How much of our anxiety is spent on what-ifs? What if I fail the presentation? What if they don't like me? What if I lose my job?" We create elaborate negative stories in our minds about futures that have not happened and may never happen. We are tormenting ourselves with phantoms of our own creation. The Stoic approach is to bring our minds back to the present moment and back to what is in our control. Can you prepare for the presentation? Yes, that is within your control. Focus on that. Can you force someone to like you? No, that is outside your control. So release that concern and focus on being a virtuous, kind, and authentic person, actions that are entirely within your power. This separation of control is not a one-time trick. It's a lifelong practice. It's a mental muscle that you must train every single day. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety bubbling up, pause. Ask yourself the fundamental Stoic question: is this thing that is upsetting me within my control or outside of it? If it is outside your control, then acknowledge it and practice acceptance. This isn't passive resignation. It is an active and courageous choice to not allow external chaos to disturb your internal peace. If it is within your control, Then ask the next question. What virtuous action can I take right now? This shifts your focus from powerless rumination to empowered action. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become an agent of your own response. This is the foundation of becoming unshakable. Think of your mind like a citadel. The events of the world can lay siege to it. Criticism, failure, loss, and uncertainty will all come knocking. If your sense of self-worth and happiness is tied to these external things, your walls will crumble easily. But if your foundation is built upon your own character, your own choices, and your own virtuous actions, the things you control, then your citadel becomes invincible. The winds can howl and the rains can beat against the walls, but the inner sanctum remains calm and secure. You are safe inside, not because the storm has ceased, but because you have built a shelter that the storm cannot penetrate. This is not to say that you will never feel pain or sadness. The Stoics were realists. They understood that loss is a part of life, but they believed that we can endure these hardships with dignity and resilience. We can grieve, but we don't have to be consumed by grief. We can feel disappointment, but we don't have to let it descend into despair. Our core self, our ruling faculty, can remain steady. We can choose to find meaning in our struggles and to use adversity as an opportunity to practice courage, patience, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius saw obstacles not as roadblocks, but as fuel. He famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." A difficult project is not just a problem, it's an opportunity to practice diligence and creativity. A challenging conversation is not just a conflict, it's a chance to practice patience and empathy. By reframing challenges in this way, you transform your entire experience of life. You are no longer trying to avoid difficulties. You're using them to become a stronger, wiser, and more virtuous person. This is the ultimate freedom that Stoicism offers. It is not the freedom from hardship, but the freedom to choose your response to hardship. It's the freedom of knowing that no matter what happens in the world, no one can force you to think a certain way, and no one can take away your ability to act with integrity. Your mind is your own. Your character is your own. This is the source of your unshakable strength. So today, as you go about your life, try to practice this ancient wisdom. When you encounter a challenge, big or small, pause and ask yourself, what part of this is in my control? Let go of what you cannot change and focus all your energy on what you can. Act with virtue, respond with reason, and accept the rest with tranquility. By doing so, you begin to build that inner citadel, stone by stone. You start to cultivate an invincible mindset, ready for any challenge that modern life throws your way. You become unshakable. Thank you for watching. If you found this exploration of Stoic wisdom valuable, consider subscribing to Motivational Repo for more content designed to empower your mind.